I'll give you an example. Like our head housekeeper, she came to me about, I think it was like 3 months ago, in tears and just saying, thank you. I just bought my first house because of Paradero. And now my family has a home security, which wasn't possible before. And I just wanted to say thank you for that. So it's like those stories that you're like, okay, we've elevated everyone by doing this project. And that's a little bit of my philosophy, business philosophy, is that everyone that touches Paradero comes out better just by being part of our culture, our team, and our organization.
Welcome to the Pay Me and Plane Tickets podcast. I have Josh Kremer here. He is the founder of the award-winning Paradero Hotels. Hopefully, I pronounced that correctly. If you don't know where Paradero Hotels is located, it's in Todos Santos, Mexico, basically Baja, California, sir, roughly 90 minutes north of Cabo for most people who are just trying to picture out where this wonderful place is. And I'm glad to have Josh here because he's the co-founder of this beautiful property, not only in just its design, it's award winning, but it's also practices sustainability. It's very much community driven. And to blend all that with the industry hotel metrics all into one, I wanted to really get Josh's story and how he was able, along with his co-founder, how he was able to sort of curate this property. So welcome to the podcast, Josh.
Thanks, Jelani. Thanks for having me.
Glad you have you on. Kind of take us a little bit from the beginning because your background is in finance and sort of investment on the investment side of it. But what kind of got you into getting into more of the operational side and the architectural side of hospitality?
Yeah. So, my background is a little bit interesting. So I was born in Florida, in Pensacola.
Nice.
I grew up in Mexico City. I went to the American school here. And when I was pretty young, maybe when I was 12, I started to get into cooking. And at 16, I went to culinary school to Cordon Bleu
Nice.
to train as a chef. And then I worked at a few fine dining restaurants. Um, and at 19, I went to hospitality school in Switzerland, which was an amazing experience.
Wow.
Um, while I was there, I did a couple of internships, one at the Mandarin Oriental in Miami in food and beverage, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And then I started to do a pivot into real estate. I did another internship at a consulting firm called HVS. So that opened my perspective into hospitality real estate. And then I did my final internship in school was at a fund in New York City called CPG Real Estate that invested in hotels. And and I got to experience firsthand luxury hospitality with the Dorado Beach Ritz-Carlton Reserve.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
so that was an amazing experience.
Yeah.
Um, and when I graduated, I said, hey, if there's I like this real estate world. I like hotels. Who's the best player in the world in doing this globally? And I saw this firm called Blackstone
Mhm.
that had acquired Hilton, and they were like the
Yep.
biggest hotel real estate owner in the world.
Yeah.
And I did some research, and there was like just a couple hundred people working there. So I was like, I gotta figure out how to get in. And probably very naive because most people that work there were from Harvard, MIT, and some of the best schools in the world, and not from culinary school. But I was determined. So after 30 interviews and case studies and all that, I got a job in London, in the real estate team. And I invested all over Europe in all types of real estate assets, not just hotels, from land to mixed-use developments to office. And then I did the same in New York for North America. And I worked at another fund that invested in emerging real estate.
Okay.
So data centers, co-working, co-living,
Yeah.
life sciences. It's very interesting because that was a mixture of real estate with operating companies on top of them, similar
Right.
to hotels. And then my final role was in Denver. I worked for a fund that invested the largest sponsor in Mexico, and we were building platform companies to invest in Mexico.
Got it.
So doing mixed use development, hotels, multifamily, and and yeah, that was my corporate life. So I did 10 years of real estate, and about 6 years ago, we saw an opportunity we saw that the, let's call it 1% was really traveling to experiential hotels in places in Africa, in Asia, in South America.
Right.
Um, and those hotels were in the middle of nowhere. They were focused on experiences, flora and fauna experiences. And we looked at Mexico and we were like, nobody's really focused on that
Yeah.
in the high end. So that's how the thesis started. This was 2017, 2018. And then we mapped out what markets this could work in. And we chose Baja as a destination. We looked at 800 pieces of land in Baja.
Oh, wow.
We then looked at 200 in Todos Santos, Pescadero area,
Yeah.
and we finally decided on a very special site called La Mesa. And we then, you know, built a design team, understood who our persona was, and designed a project, permitted it, and raised capital for it, and we built the model room, and then COVID hit.
Yep.
And basically construction stopped, and our investor said, "Are you crazy? Like, why are you gonna keep doing
Right.
this? No one's gonna ever travel again."
Wow. Wow.
So we said,
Yeah. Scary
let's just.
times.
So me and my partner just decided to push on, and we basically pushed on the development with our own capital. And then as we got more clarity, we brought in some incredible investors into our group. And um, then so it started more as a real estate opportunity, but we didn't really find a great operator that was aligned with that vision. And so we took the very naive decision of also becoming operators. So we started two companies, Communal and Paradero,
Yeah.
and we decided to operate, and we built an initial team, opened, and it's been a 5-year journey of operating and learning about the business, about everything from ops to F&B to our guests. And but it's been amazing. Honestly, it's the
Wow.
best journey.
All the peaks and the valleys, it still made
Yeah.
it worth it, you know?
Yes.
That's very interesting. What made you choose that special site?
And so a couple of factors. I mean, when you look at a lot of pieces of land, you have a lot of options. There's a lot of land in
Yeah.
general. So you have where to choose. The obvious choice was to go for a beachfront site. And we looked at a lot of beachfront sites, and they were all amazing. But we found this place called La Mesa, which basically it's like a mesa, a tabletop,
Got you.
surrounded by two dry rivers called arroyos,
Hmm.
and basically in the middle of five ecosystems, which was very strange. Like you have mountains, farming, cacti forest, oasis, and the ocean, all like in one view.
Wow.
And to us, that was really unique. So we're like, how many beachfront hotels are there in Mexico? 1,000? How
Wow.
many properties have these multi ecosystems? Not that many.
Not many at all. Not with that
The
type of
moment
dynamic. Yeah.
and the moment you release yourself from a beachfront site, you then open up possibilities into what could be designed there versus just a typical horseshoe-shaped
Right.
property. So the moment we did that, it released like the realm of possibilities.
Wow.
And that was, I think that was the start of something special.
Got it. So that's kind of how you and your team were able to sort of angle into this particular site. It was a very dynamic environment that's pretty unique to those type of properties that you're not going to get from the typical beachfront properties
Exactly.
in Baja, right?
Exactly.
And you worked with designers such as Ruben Valdez and Yashar.
Yeah.
When it came to not only designing the hotel, but also uh, building a sustainable sort of ecosystem, was that where did you run into any like challenges in that aspect of it as well? Or
Yeah.
yeah.
Sustainability was like always a big part of how we approach business. We with the site, it was interesting because it was already an impacted site. By
Mhm.
that I mean that this La Mesa area was the most fertile piece of land in Todos Santos Pescadero. And the farmers about 80 years ago took out all the cacti forest and used it for agriculture. And so the vegetation, the flora and fauna was inexistent. And so our approach was, okay, it's already an impacted site. How can we leave it better than how we found it? And the first decision was um, 80% landscaping, 20% built a product. And I think with that, you're basically that simple strategy is as sustainable as it gets because you're building less.
Got it.
Um, and then everything from how we design the rooms to how we source materials to the farming on site, everything was with that lens of sustainability. And in addition to that, when we open, we basically take 2% of our sales into our not-for-profit foundation, and we're investing in destination conservation initiatives,
Oh wow.
um, which has been which has been awesome.
That's an amazing uh concept and also the way that you guys have developed it and where you base it, it's an 80-20 approach. Make 20% the unit, 80% is the landscape. So you can really kind of keep things sustainable and also maintain it in that way throughout, the life of this initiative and project that you guys have. And you've also been able to yourself and your team and even communals being the operator, you've also been able to offer guests very unique sort of experiences that
Yeah.
kind of touch on sustainability, but touch on sort of like community building. What inspired that sort of decision to kind of keep the ethos of Paradero, being that it is uniquely located, it has a sustainable touch to it, but then it also has this community impact in its operation. Where did that sort of like mold come from?
Yeah. So most beach hotels, it's a very similar experience. It's like you lay in the pool, you drink margaritas,
That's it. That's all you need.
and you hang out. And we're like, there's so many options like that today. If we just try to do the same, we're just not going to be able to differentiate at all. So learning from kind of like the initial thesis of these incredible operators in Africa and South America, um, we brought on the CEO of Explora as an advisor to the project.
Wow.
And with him, we were thinking about what experiences could you offer to the guest where in, let's call it a 2 to 4 night stay, you really get to know the destination better than just staying at another place and trying to figure out by yourself. So we curated all the experiences. We first started with, I think it was like 30, which is a little overwhelming. And then we dial it down to the most impactful ones. But they're anywhere from like Virgin Beach setup. So instead of just going to the beach, the hotel beach,
Mhm.
we take our guests to, there's about 4 Virgin beaches around our property.
Nice.
We take our guests to a Virgin Beach, do a luxury setup for them. And basically, you're with our guide and you're in this incredible remote beach by yourself.
Wow.
Yes, you're drinking a beer, you know, ceviche, but it's like a totally different
It's
experience.
very serene.
Totally different experience. And then ocean safari. So outside the property, it's the Pacific Ocean is full with wildlife. And we take our guests out, and there's no docks for boats.
Okay.
So we partner with the local fishermen and we go out to see crazy amounts of wildlife within an hour period. So you see whales, dolphins, sea lions, turtles, all within a 1 hour span. And
Wow.
it's incredible. And then you take a look at Baja from the ocean and it's like next level.
Wow.
So then that's another one. Then bird watching, there's like incredible, we're in like the most um this oasis that we're next to is like a sanctuary for birds in Baja and they all come there. So
Mhm.
the bird watching is incredible. And since we restore the ecosystem by, you know, creating a beautiful landscape, giving back life to the land, now there's a lot of birds that are coming back to the property. And it's been amazing to see that.
Wow,
So
it's like
I
a
so I
restoration.
can, yeah, I can go like experience by experience, but all of them are really meant to immerse yourself in the destination and and push for a transformation.
Yeah, I've
Push
noticed
for,
that. Yeah, I've
hey,
noticed it.
I was a little afraid of surfing, never done it in my life. Let me try it out. You go with our guides, you do it, you're like, okay,
Yeah,
you know,
that's it.
I got challenged. Yes, it was a little challenging, but I overcame that. And then you'll always remember your trip to Baja and Paradero. It's like that's where I learned how to surf, or
Yeah.
that's where I saw the first whale. And it's these transformational moments that I think are what I love the most about Paradero.
And I love that too because you do have unique offerings that make the moment very special. You even have offerings just to kind of lay out for the guests, learning to farm.
Yeah,
Like learning to farm on this property or even understanding it from the people's perspective, the people of this particular community. That's something that's so unique. You don't see that in many other properties or even hotel offerings at all. You also have sound healing. These are it's becoming in vogue, but I'm going to label you guys are pretty much on the forefront of it and offering these type of things that are transformational, as you just mentioned, and also um, very inner healing, something where, yeah, somebody can go and offer a surf experience and don't, I'm a surfer, so I get it. But you can kind of rinse and repeat surf experience, especially for beginners in a lot of different places. But learning to farm is not something that you can rinse and
yeah,
repeat everywhere. You
yeah, definitely.
definitely, so that I want to just, applaud to yourself and your team about, you know, thinking of those sort of experiences and uh, for Paradero.
You know, the
Um,
learn to farm experience, just to touch on that one, I think it's like everyone, America used to be a farming nation.
it used to be. Yeah.
It still is. It's still a number one food producing country in the world. America feeds the world. Everyone has a 1 degree connection to a farmer in the US, but none of them have actually been in a farm. And the distance that we have from, we don't even know where our food comes from anymore. You go to Whole Foods, pick your vegetables, they look nice and beautiful. You take them home,
Yep.
they taste, but you don't really know what a tomato should taste like. You don't really know what arugula should taste like.
That's very true.
Once you once you try, once you experience, for example, a learn a farm experience, you learn how to, you see where the food comes from, you try it out, and then you test or taste a tomato. And you're like, okay, this is how a tomato should actually taste like. And I think it just grounds people into some of these habits that we've formed for convenience. And but if if you put your hands in the soil and you touch the fruits, vegetables that are growing, and then you eat it, that process is very powerful. Like that, you will
Wow.
never eat a salad the same way after you do that experience. And so that was the objective.
Yeah,
Versus like, oh, just here plant the seed. It's more about the profound mindset or the profound learning of going back to our roots.
yeah. It's taking it back to the basics, you
Yeah,
know? And you're 100% correct that once you do it the first time, you're never gonna look at it. You're never gonna look at a salad from a simplistic mindset.
yeah,
Again, when you actually have that experience of all that it takes to get into it. Now we're getting into culinary, but outside the culinary aspect of it, more of the just the human feel of it all,
yeah,
of embracing that activity. You know what I'm saying? And that this is why, again, Paradero standing out amongst a lot of other properties and offerings within not only the region but also around the globe. When we do talk to other hoteliers or in the same space in real estate investment, things around your lane, who are curating and creating sort of these transformational experiences, these very unique properties with these unique offerings. Are you also, one thing that we do ask is, are you also seeing a change around the community and the impact of it as well? So is that something that you're able also to, have you been able to kind of witness it? Are you seeing some sort of like positive signs around the community that kind of maybe indirectly touch the hotel or even directly touch the hotel property?
yeah. So, I mean, at the end of the day, a hotel um, is a combination of great people. So obviously, we're spending and investing a lot of time in training
Yeah.
and a lot of people from the local community and that come from outside. And those investments are starting to trickle down into like the broader economy of our destination. So that's like one great positive impact of our property. Suppliers um, bringing in and professionalizing and developing suppliers in the area is trickling down as well. And then anywhere from with our non-for-profit investments, I look at it as an investment. Um, we've been investing anywhere from like the fire department locally and with better equipment to even basic, let's call it municipal services that are just not getting done correctly. And we're investing in those and for the benefit of everyone, candidly. So is that on that front, education is a big opportunity in the destination in order to retain the best talent. So yeah,
So you are seeing, and I see that it's impacting in a positive way, and that is sort of something that is lost in a lot of investment strategies of today's age. So to see that within the core of what you guys are doing is very refreshing to hear
Yeah.
and obviously also to witness it. It is actively being
Yes.
performed right now.
It's great. I
And
mean, I'll give you an example. Like our head housekeeper, um, she was incredible. Like she came to me about, I think it was like 3 months ago, in tears and just saying, thank you. I just bought my first house
wow.
because of Paradero. And now my family has um, a home security, which wasn't possible before. And I just wanted to say thank you for that. So it's like those stories that you're like, okay, um, we've raised, we've elevated everyone by doing this project. And that's a little bit of my philosophy, business philosophy, is that everyone that touches Paradero comes out better just by being part of our culture, our team, and our organization.
Wow. Yeah. There's a net positive. That's how you
Yeah.
guys are doing this. And I love that. And to hear, I mean, just to hear the individual you mentioned that was able to purchase their first property due to the direct and indirect impact of Paradero is it's that's almost like a life-changing sort of event that most can't really claim to have um, some sort of impact on, you know? You got to
Yeah.
give yourself a reward. That's
Yeah.
what they said. So, when you guys were creating this, like from, the concept to then kind of applying it onto the spreadsheets and bringing it out to presentations, was that always in there and involved in the beginning of the business model, or was that kind of like, hey, you know what? As we were doing this, we realized we can even be much more impactful and better than a traditional sort of setup
No, it was from day one.
day one.
Um, yeah, it was from day one.
From day one,
And
perfect.
obviously, the initial vision from day one was much smaller to what it became, but it was from day one.
Wow.
Yeah, that sustainability approach was always embedded in the vision.
Wow. And the impact has what you're seeing right now, is it resulted in something that you couldn't even imagine from day one? Or
Yes,
is there
yes.
still more to go?
Still more to go. Yes.
Still more to go.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love to hear that. For Paradero and also communal, what's the next step for you guys? Are you guys looking to expand? Are you guys kind of looking to not only expand just in the Paradero property itself, but maybe expand even to other particular locations and beyond?
Yeah. So we started with 10 acres of land. Today we have about 60 acres. All were purchased from the local community. So all that economical, let's call it impact, has been spilled over directly to the community. And we started with 42 adults only suites. And we are now expanding 26 villas for families. Those are under construction right now. It's going to be a product really focused for families, for kids. How do they? We had a lot of guests that came as a couple, and they're like, we want to take our kids here,
Yeah.
um, and we don't want to shove them in the kids club to play video games on the holidays. We want them to be farming and biking and bird watching. doing an ocean safari. We want them to do the same stuff that we like to do.
Yeah.
And so that was really driven by guest feedback of getting their kids to experience that.
Come and jump in. Yeah.
And then the other opportunity that came also from guest feedback is, hey, we love this. Why don't you guys build a home? Because I want to continue coming back to this. And so that sparked the idea of doing a single family home product really focused on farming. And it's a spectacular project. That was the design team on that project crushed it. And I think it's going to be the most unique homes in Baja
Wow.
in terms of design, the ethos, and just the experience of the house is very, very different and very unique. So we're really excited about those two initiatives. And but all let's call it within a very low density approach. So within 60 acres, you're only building less than 90 keys. So it's probably the lowest. We were approved for more than 300 units and we only did 92. So it's
Wow.
probably going to be the lowest density project in all of Baja. And it's just to keep that incredible feeling of the
Yeah.
five ecosystems alive in the whole experience.
Wow. Small footprint, but large impact.
Exactly.
That's beautiful.
I like it. I like that
Yeah.
concept.
There it is. No, it's because I think a lot of times when individuals or groups get into this business or into this side of it, they think, let's go big, let's make it as grand as possible. But when you do that, you tend to miss on a lot of the community-based initiatives, a lot of
Yeah.
the positive impacts that you can have, things that you just can't incorporate into that business model because it just is too large to sort of fit it anymore. But with
Yeah.
what you guys are doing, and it's even beautiful or brilliantly executed because you have the space to do it, but you're operating it as let's just take it step by step, certain key by certain key, so that we don't lose it as it grows. We don't lose that impact as it grows.
Right.
And so that's kind of how I'm summarizing it,
Yeah.
as if I was there. Am I right on that?
No, for sure. And it's all driven by guest feedback.
Guess
You
feedback.
know,
Gotcha.
most, many hotels are, let's call it egocentric,
I like that.
or operator centric. But the reality is that um, the best hotels are guest centric. So we strive with our team every day to learn from guest feedback and continuously apply it into becoming better every day. And there's this term, we joined leading hotels of the world earlier in the year, and we were at the owners conference last year in November, and they used a term that I think nailed what has been our approach for our last 5 years, and we love it. And now even we have a committee called the Pursuit of Excellence,
Wow.
and it's this constant pursuit of excellence. It's never achieved, but you're always pursuing it. And a lot of it comes from your guest feedback and constantly improving. And our whole team. This is not a software product where you make a change and it goes, it's a team of people that always need to be improving as a group and as a whole to deliver better service, a better experience for our guests, and more transformative experiences for our guests.
Everything
So
I'm hearing is beautiful because it's you're listening to the customer first, and the guest feedback is sort of aiding that growth in what you guys are trying to do. And it's not like a software product where one person can have that much of impact. No, it's a full ecosystem. Everybody is sort of in on the plan. And
Correct.
yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Well, look, Josh, I know you have a busy day ahead of you, and I know you have probably a bunch more calls, and you got to get everything organized. Because this all sounds beautiful aesthetically, but like there's a lot of like ground and grind work in there. So we tend to ask these pay me in plane tickets questions to kind of
Okay.
see where you fall on the spectrum. So it's a little bit of a pop quiz, but let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
So, if you were to be paid in plane tickets, which airline are you choosing?
Mm, I will get my own plane
Yeah,
and
that's
fly it
a,
myself and fly it myself.
you're talking like a Cessna, a private jet. What are we talking here?
A Cessna, a Cessna.
Okay.
Actually, that's been I really want to get into flying lessons
Okay.
and learn how to fly.
All right. You know what? That's the first one on the pod. You definitely made history.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Look, he'll get himself a Cessna and take some flying lessons. There you
Yeah.
go. Beautiful. All right. When you do travel, is it Airbnb or hotel?
Hotels.
Hotel, got you. Team Hotel, there it is. When you do travel, do you have a special credit card or debit card you use for like points and miles, or you just cash, kind of like me?
Um, I have so many of them, but I don't use the points.
Right.
I think, yeah, there's so many options, there's so many points, and the points are just so difficult to think about that I don't know where that whole points system is heading to. But yes, I have all of them.
Okay, you got all of them. You just don't really utilize them in
Yeah.
a way. Yeah. Okay. When you do travel, is it checked on or carry on?
Always carry on,
Carry on.
no
Yeah.
matter how long the trip.
That's right. Carry
Yeah.
on is the way to be. So when you're not
Before I got married, I got married last year. One of the conditions with my wife was like um carry on policy.
you had that in the arrangement, you're like, gotta be a carry on no matter what.
So, we've done a lot of improvement.
Uh,
When we exceed the 2 week mark, she insists on checking the bag. So I'm like, just give me stuff and I'll put it on my own. But largely we've largely been successful at it.
okay. Yeah, you know what? You might need to we made a podcast episode on that. Like, how did this all come down? There we go. When you're not flying your own plane, then you get on the
Yeah.
plane. Are you choosing window, aisle, or middle seat?
Window.
Window. Okay, the dreamer. I like that. So we talk about good things that travel brings us, but do you have any traveling pet peeves?
Food. Um,
Mm.
so in restaurants, I mean, I love food as a whole. I I mean, for the last 10 years, I've been basically mapping out on Google Maps every restaurant that I've been to or that looks great. And whenever I go to a city, it's crazy. Now there's a whole map of like all the restaurants I need to check out and try.
Mm.
And so I would say choosing restaurants is a pet peeve. And and trying everything from street food to Michelin dining and um, anywhere. I eat everything.
Uh,
So that I'm really excited about food. So I don't know if it's a pet peeve, but
it's
eating really well is a
yeah.
big priority of any trip.
Any trip is basically the food experience because you also have the culinary sort of perspective on it as well.
Yeah.
So even down to the street food is getting the same sort of you know review in your mind.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
That's a pretty good pet peeve. I wouldn't say it's a pet peeve, but it's more like a discipline that you've really taken on.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Okay, last but not least, where is your next flight to?
I'm going to Miami next week
Mm.
and to the LE show, LE conference.
Okay.
And I'm going to be there for a week.
Oh, Ellie Miami.
Yeah,
Yes.
LE Miami. So I'm going to
Yeah.
be meeting I think it's like 100 like high-end travel agents. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
And
Score those deals. You got this.
yeah, they're great. And yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun. Then I'm going to Baja for a team building with our executive committee, and we're going on our catamaran to the Sea of Cortez. So that's gonna be fun.
Wow.
We do a
Nice.
quarterly team building with our executive committee, and for them to experience in a hotel. So that's gonna be a lot of fun.
Wow. Okay. That sounds like a great team building
Yeah.
experience. That's not your normal team building experience, but that's definitely a beautiful one. I mean, it's right there. You guys got it.
It's the best team building because you're out, there's no phone signal, you're in the ocean, and it's actually a great place just to connect as a team. Actually, our team buildings are 80% just focused on connecting as a team, like not work related.
Wow.
So that's a great place to do it. S- Interestingly, so we've had a lot of companies now,
Yeah.
like some of our clients, they want to do team buildings and they take their teams out to the Sea of Cortez, which is like spectacular.
Oh, wow. They're copying you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. No, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. That's a
Yeah.
beautiful experience to have, especially
Yeah.
with the team that's helping it all sort of come together.
Yeah.
It's very rewarding.
Yeah.
Well,
Very cool.
Josh, I want to thank you for hopping on this podcast, Payment and Plane Tickets. For all our guests, you can visit Paradero Hotels at paraderohotels.com. Also, they have their social feeds also on the site, and also you can book directly through Paradero Hotels. And this is Josh Kremer. Thank you, man.
Thank you, Jelani. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the time. This was great.
Awesome.